Hi, I'm Terry Brock with terrybrock.com. Communication is one of the hallmarks of success for you personally as well as for businesses. And communication is vitally important today, but it's also gone through some changes. We're seeing a different way of communication, different ways to handle what goes on at work. And to find out more about that, we're joined today by an expert on that. Her name is Joyce Weiss, and she joins us from her offices there in the Detroit, Michigan area. Joyce, thanks for being with us today.
I love being here already, Terry. Thank you.
Well, I am really looking forward to hearing what you have to say, and I know our viewers will be very interested in finding out about you and what you've done with communicating with impact. And you help companies around the world, lots of organizations on that. I'm going to start by saying and asking you, what is going on that you see today with communication that might be a little different than it was a few years ago, particularly in the workplace?
There are different personalities that are more in the workplace today that we're talking about, such as the bully, such as the narcissist, such as the mediocre person. I just started using the word narcissist about 2 years ago. I just was experimenting with one of my workshops. Everything stopped. People started asking me questions. How do you deal with the drama king or queen? I've never been able to handle them. Or the bully, how do I deal with it, especially if the bully's my boss? So today it's different because it seems like there are more bullies out, there are more narcissists, there are more silos, people that think their way is right, their department is the best one. More so than ever, Terry.
Yeah, I think so. We see it a lot. And people, interesting you say that because I've been talking about the narcissism. I don't always use that word. I use a different phrase. I say that people have eye trouble. Now, I don't mean I as in EYE, what's in your head that you see. No, no, no. I mean the letter I. And you probably have seen the people, Joyce, in your work you do as a communication expert. People, well, I did this, and I think that, and I do this, and for me and myself, we do this, and it's after a while, you just want to slap them, And I realize I don't do that because I don't like violence. But how do you deal with someone in a polite way that's got that eye trouble, as I say, or they're really a narcissist? You're an expert on this. How can we deal with these kind of people that we bump into?
Well, first of all, I've got to say a disclaimer that there are times that you can't do anything. But I'm going to delete what I just said. When you can, I think setting boundaries is the most important thing for a narcissist and even a bully, because bullies, for example, they've gotten away with this behavior because no one has stopped them. Or if they have attempted, they didn't do it in a way where the bully took them seriously or respected them. So I think boundaries is something so important for us to think about. How is this person impeding on my time, even in my self-respect? So there are so many tools that I share during the workshops or during the online course that I have, to help people understand, at least to attempt to use with, for sure, the bully. The narcissist, you never know, because it depends on how far they are on the narcissist scale.
Yeah, because some of them are really, really up there on that scale. Well, let me get real specific then. Someone's watching this and they say, okay, I've got a bully, and maybe their boss is a bully. What are some specific steps that they can take that you have seen that works? Because I know you do a lot of consulting and coaching with individuals, with groups, with companies on this. They bring you in and have you help on that. So how do you deal with that bully, particularly if the bully is your boss or someone you respect is in an authority position to you?
Well, when it comes with a boss or even a colleague, I wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't attack the bully. I would wait till the next day or a couple days and give yourself a chance to create that conversation, that tough conversation. And you could even start with something like, I was caught off guard during our communication a couple days ago. I don't want to create stress between us. I do want to have an important conversation that we need to have. And that person will either say no or yes. And if they say, well, what are you talking about? Folding their arms and already starting with that body language, you could say something like, I'm really frustrated when I give my opinion at meetings because sometimes it just seems like I'm discounted, or the team is discounted, and we're all in this together, or this is really creating low morale. It takes time to feel comfortable with these skills, Terry, but they're baby steps. And once you start with an I don't want to, I do want to, that gives you a chance to relax a little. They relax. You can almost talk to anybody when you start with that kind of skill right at the beginning.
Yes, I like that. That is really good. And for those of you watching, think about that, because you're going to bump into it. And just remember these words from the very wise Joyce Weiss, who says, okay, let's sit down and let's think about this. And sometimes, I like what you said, Joyce, we don't need to respond right in the moment. Too often it might be because, well, you're like this, and that's a human reaction. We want to strike back. We want to really hit them back. But it seems like that would be the wrong thing to do, but wait a few days. Is that what you're saying?
Sometimes. I'm going to sound like a politician here. Sometimes, then there will be times when you don't have the luxury of waiting
Yeah.
for a few days. Then what I would do is, instead of pushing the person, it's part of verbal aikido, which I talk about, step back and into the gap. So you don't respond right away. And then it gives you a chance to breathe. I'm being serious. You take a deep breath, and at that time you say, wait, how do I want to respond? Do I want to just not say anything? Sometimes there are times that we really don't need to say anything. Do I want to stand up for myself in a respectful way? It gives you a chance to start saying, I learned about, I don't want, I do want, maybe I'm going to start it that way. So when you step back in the gap, it really gives you that space, that control to decide how you want to respond. And this is what I'm finding when people call me and they need assistance in their communication. People either explode, they don't have a problem communicating, so they think, so they explode, they push that person back, or they don't say anything. And they don't know how to. And then, of course, the results are basically the same. Nothing gets resolved. And what's interesting to me is the last couple days, 2 new clients have called because of 2 different cultures, meaning one CEO said, I have a leader that is so great. The issue is that he was brought up in another culture where he was not taught to speak his mind, and he's letting people walk over him. So you've got to teach him that it's okay that he can learn the skills, which he never learned, because in his culture, it's you've got to respect your elders, or you've got to respect your boss, or you've got to respect whomever it is. So twice in a row, 2 different cultures, the same situation, where leaders just don't know how to use the skills.
That makes a lot of sense. It's learning those skills. And wow, Joyce, even as we're doing this interview right now, you and I know each other, but say my mother taught me you never butt in. Never, she would just say, don't be a butt-in-ski, which she would tell us, we shouldn't do that. And I realized at times that puts me in a disadvantage, because some people will just keep talking and talking and talking. And there is a way to do it. And I know you talk about this. You give a lot of skills for it on how to handle it. Thank you. I think this is important, because now this relates to another thing I wanted to ask you about, of how to create that climate to deal with conflict when you can have respectful dialogue. It seems like so much of our culture today has lost that. I think in the politics area, it's like, oh my goodness, what is happening here? We don't have that. But I know that's something you specifically talk about in the work that you do. Help us on that. How can we create more of a respectful dialogue, both in the work environment and in other exchanges that we have with people?
Well, there's 2 expressions that I want to mention right now. One is, you get what you tolerate. And this is huge with the respect aspect of conflict. If you allow people to walk over you, whether you're a leader or you're not a leader, then you get what you tolerate. If you allow bullies to take over the meetings, then you get what you tolerate. Or what about silence? if there's silence in your meetings and you don't know how to bring people in, and there's no the suggestions are not brought up, then you get what you tolerate. It's very, very important for people to understand the importance of that, because when it comes to respect, different equals different. Different does not equal wrong. And when I use that, when people are saying, well, this is the right way to do it, I don't know why anybody isn't listening to us. Whether it's a bully or whether you're so tied into your opinion, these people have to understand that there are other people in that room. You've got to listen to them. Two very important expressions that go a long way when people really start thinking about them and maybe even using them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wow, this is really good information, because we have to have those skills. And that's where I know you have worked with a lot of people to do that and to make sure it's there. Now, there's another thing I want to find out, because I know I'm looking at the material that you've done beforehand. You've shown how you can be heard at meetings, particularly with some advanced communication techniques. So what I'm going to do is, in a non-threatening way, reach through and kind of twist your arm just a little bit there and ask you if you could share some of those ideas. Yeah, there it is, just a little bit, not too much of a twist there, but let us know a little bit about some of the advanced techniques that are available so you can be heard at meetings in an appropriate way where you're context sensitive to what's going on, situationally aware, and getting the results you want. What would you recommend on that?
There's something, it's a trademark of mine, called Be Direct with Respect. And people know what that is immediately the minute I say that. And that strategy it's so basic. Again, it takes a while to use it with comfort. But you're in the middle of a meeting, and let's say that nobody's listening to your ideas. You could just say, hey, I'm feeling frustrated right now. When I did a lot of research, because I know this is going to help the team. Well, that versus no one's listening to me anyway, and folding your arms or signing out. By using the Be Direct with Respect approach, you're going to get the respect from others, and especially for yourself, because you're going to be heard. And you brought up something that is just, I have a feeling that the viewers will be shaking their head after this one. What about the person that takes over? Whether it's at a networking meeting or whether it's at a meeting. And
Yes, we've all seen them.
Oh my gosh, as I'm shaking my head. You, as a leader especially, you have to get control. You have to set boundaries. Hey, George, that's a great idea. We have other people that want to share these too. Put those ideas down. Send them to me. We're going to cover them in our next meeting. You're going to give a compliment to that person, and you're also shutting them up at the same time. And again, you're going to get the respect from people who want to talk but have not been able to. And George, maybe no one else has ever responded to him that way. And this is what I'm finding, that I hate to tell you this, Terry, but you may have a blind spot. And I know I have blind spots. We all have blind spots. So when we say in a respectful, way and have these tough conversations, the results, if they come out well, the person will thank you and say, I didn't even realize that's how I come off.
Yes. I like that. The way you say it, be direct with respect.
Yes.
I think too often people say, well, I'm just going to be direct. I'm just going to say what I think. And that doesn't really further the ultimate goal of getting along and communicating and achieving what you want. But if you can be direct, but you do it in a respectful way, being assertive without being aggressive and without being so timid that you don't get your point across. These are important. Now, Joyce, I know that you have put a lot of these together in a program that you've got that is really worth about $10,000-$20,000 that you've put together, but I understand you have it available today for a whole lot less than that. And I wanted to have you, before you get away, we don't want to let you get out of here without telling us a little bit about how we can communicate with impact and the program that you have and what people can get from that.
Thank you for asking. We just launched Communicate with Impact, and I will repeat the website twice, communicationsskillsatwork.com. communicationskillsatwork.com. And what it is, it's an online master course that was designed especially for two kinds of people. Either people who want to really develop professionally with their own leadership skills and learn how to do the things that you and I talked about, except this time they're going to have me holding their hand, because they're going to be able to work with me for 2 months with the online course. And it was also developed for the CEOs who have leaders who need to learn how to do the things that we're talking about, handle conflict with their employees, hold better meetings. And the CEO the presidents are really tired of babysitting for them, and they want these people to progress in their leadership role. But again, we don't learn these things in school. So it's perfect for those people also.
Yeah, you're right. We don't have those kind of classes, although sometimes we would need them, I think. But you've got some marvelous opportunities there. And so they can find out about that online and be able to improve communication. And those of you watching this, think about it. One of the most important skills you can develop to enhance your career and to get what you need in your personal life is to improve communication skills. Being able to get your point across without being so aggressive that you look like a bully and so timid that you're not heard, but rather you're direct with respect. Joyce, I love that phrase, direct with respect, and take advantage of this. Find out about what Joyce has. I know that she has done a lot. Joyce is a friend of mine. We've worked together for many years, and I know that she has really good material. Companies pay a lot of money to hear her on this. She's made a very good offer right now to help you on that. Joyce, before we let you go, any final words you want to say about communicating with impact, communicating, and how we can do that more effectively in today's world?
Well, a couple things. Number one, not only will people learn how to deal with conflict at work, they're going to learn how to deal with their partners, with their kids better, with their mother-in-laws. We can transfer all these skills. Trust me, I know this. These skills help my clients not just at work, but also at home. And as I said, people will be in touch with me for 2 months. They would get communication with me via email 24/7. They can get an ebook. A couple assessments are included where we measure their skills before and after. And when people go to communicationskillsatwork.com, there's a link many, many times on the site for them to take a free communication quiz, which shows them exactly how they deal with boundaries, with bullies, with their boss. And so they can see, maybe I do need this class, or maybe this class would be great for somebody that I know.
Excellent. Well, good words of advice and ideas that can really help you. Think about this, and as you're watching this, do yourself a favor, do your career a favor, and look into the information that Joyce Weiss has. Joyce, thanks for being here with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Terry. And remember, sir, you get what you tolerate.
That's right. I like that. You get what you tolerate. And we are going to make sure that we have the best of results for everyone as we communicate better and continue to hone those skills and make them better all the time. I'm Terry Brock with terrybrock.com. Thank you very much for joining us for this important video message.